Hello, I'm Wayne Holmes. We're here in the Franconia strewnfield today. We're out to hunt meteorites. What started out to be a simple script turned into a real bonus today. I have to be honest about that. With me today is John Wolf. John Wolf found this field. He's credited with finding the strewnfield. We have Larry Sloan with us today, and we also have Jim Smaller. These are some of the best meteorite hunters, I believe, in the country. They've spent their time, they've paid their dues. Some of what you see here in front of us, of course, and all of it has been found in this area. And we're here to talk a little bit about these guys. The script changed, as I said, so we're going to have a roundtable forum here. I think what we're going to do is start off with John here. He's right next to me. John, you found the field. When?
I found it in late 02, and I just kind of scanning the area, and I come across the first one. And after that, I had to have it checked out and analyzed, and then I kind of let it go for a while. And I come back once in a while and look in here. And about 2 years later, well, a year and a half, year later, I driving down the road and I spotted the second one. And after that,
It's
a half hour later, I got another one. I got 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
And big ones. They weren't small either.
They hadn't been found yet. They were sticking right out of the ground, I assume.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Visible.
Boulders almost like.
Can I ask you guys, on that subject, why here? Why this terrain? Why the geology? Why do we see them sticking out of the ground? A lot of times they're right there, right where you can pick them up.
Well, it really shouldn't be. It should be buried, but this is a kind of special area. They're being blown out of here.
It's a real dry environment here, and this ground really hasn't moved all that much down through all the thousands of years. These meteorites here that are found in this field have accumulated over a period of a lot of years, and they're not deteriorating unless they're deposited in a wet, moist basin. Other than that, the ground's very inductive to protecting a meteorite.
Is it because meteorites have a lot of iron and nickel in them that they're subjected to rust?
Yes.
In a lot of wet climates, and that's why they don't last as long, and because we're so arid?
That, and if they're exposed to a lot of moisture, and especially in your freezing temperatures, you get what they call salt wedging. And once the meteorite starts to open up, the salt wedging gets in there, and that and seeds and various different factors crack it open and just spread it right on out. And then after it gets opened up, then it starts more or less melting back into the environment.
Back to you, John. When you found this field, of course, a strewn field they generally form in what, elliptical patterns?
Yeah. Anywhere from just a mile wide, maybe 3 miles wide, and anywhere to 2 miles to 7 or 8 miles long.
And the data, of course, that's been brought in has been brought in by a lot of other hunters that are probably giving you coordinates, and these are coordinates with GPS that they use in the field, and they're giving you the coordinates. So now you're able to establish the field. When you started, you were really guessing. You could be outside the field, not find anything for days, and then step back in the field and realize you were back in the meteorites again.
Yeah, the very first one I found was right as we now know, was right at the edge of the field, and sandwiched between 2 large washes, and it was kind of hard to actually decide where you want to go.
Sure, and that's the Franconia.
Yes.
John found the first Franconia meteorite, and that has been analyzed and classified as the Franconia meteorite. As we get through this, we'll find out that, of course, Larry and Jim have some remarkable finds here. The field now, as it's established, is, what were you telling me earlier?
It's about 3 miles by about 7 miles long.
That's a pretty good sized field. And although it's been hunted since 2004, am I correct?
Yeah, the first one was 2002, and then
2002. Okay.
2004 started, finding them.
Seriously finding them. They found probably hundreds of them at this particular point in time.
Sure.
You have the Franconia. Larry, you found some remarkable finds. What do you have here now?
I found the Buck Mountain Horse meteorite in 2004.
In 2004.
After John found the main field.
What was the grams on that original Franconia, John?
4,000.
4,000. 4,000 grams. That's a considerable amount of grams. And that would weigh in at about how many pounds?
Probably about 8.
8 pounds. That is remarkable. Larry, you also have another one out here?
Yes, this one right here I found out here. It's 3,600 grams.
That is remarkable. That is absolutely fantastic, Larry. And you have a lot more. I've seen a lot more than you have. In fact, you hunt all over the country. In fact, all of you guys hunt all over the country. But you hunt in Colorado, Nevada, California,
New Mexico, Arizona,
all over the place. I know you've got some great finds. The guy sitting next to you over here, Jim Smoller, he holds quite a record here, and that's sitting right there on top of these. These are irons. Now there's two classifications. You guys can step in here too. An iron is total iron, as opposed to what we call our stonies. Go ahead, Jim, with that.
This iron right here, this 54 gram iron. Right now, this one right here is about 32. It was 43 grams, and I sent it in to have it classified, and it's currently being worked on right now. The assumption right now is that these irons possibly separated out of one of these chondrites. Mm-hmm. You can imagine this, when this chondrite first entered our atmosphere, it blew up into thousands and thousands of pieces. These irons separated out just about like raisins out of a loaf of raisin bread. And they came down, they just rained all over this strew field. Now this is the largest one so far that's been found in this field. And they range all the way from this size right on down. As you can see, there's various ones here on the table, right on down. Rice-size pieces. John there has made a number of nice finds in the irons, as well as Larry here, all over the strew field. And we're getting back to what we were talking about a while ago on the size of the field. We've mapped it. And the mapping has been done with 54 different people have donated coordinates to put this map together. Larry was one of the very first ones, and John that supplied coordinates. So that's how this field has more or less gotten mapped. And all that mapping has went into ASU for future generations.
It's important. You guys are pioneering a real local strewn field to us. I'm from Bullhead. You're from Kingman. Larry's from Colorado. John's from Iowa. Rapid City, Iowa, as a matter of fact, right? And so John's a long ways from here, but John comes in every year. I think last year was the first year I believe I met you, actually out here. And you come a long ways. You hunt a lot of hours. These guys put in hours and hours and hours. I don't know how you guys have the stamina to come out here and stay out here. Larry stays here. We're using his host site here to bring this to you guys on DVD. And it's amazing the time. John goes out here and walks for miles. Jim the same way, and Larry. They also use quads. These quads. John uses a little two-wheel motorbike, which works out good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You can go slow, look at a lot of terrain.
You can see a lot right directly in front was the most important.
Yeah, considering. What about this, you guys? What about this in hunting today? We all hunt with metal detectors.
That's yours there, Larry, isn't it?
No, it isn't mine.
You can touch something with it.
It's a very essential tool in hunting. You just go along and hit the magnet on the meteorite, and but also we have false meteorites, which we call meteor wrongs. This is a piece of magnetite that I just found yesterday, and this is a meteor wrong. It looks exactly like a meteorite, but it is a meteor wrong. It's a piece of basalt.
But you should worry about these because you never know. Some meteorites have less magnetism than others, right, Larry? Right, you guys?
That's right.
So a piece like this should always bring back. That should always come back. You never know till sometimes you get back exactly what it is. There's a lot of different types of magnetic rocks out here. This piece of hematite, is that a piece of hematite right there, you guys?
Yes.
Piece of hematite. It sticks like a meteorite.
No, that's magnetite.
Magnetite. Oh, it's magnetite there?
Hematite there is not magnetic. I don't
Okay.
think there's a piece of hematite on the table there.
Probably not. They look a lot like meteorites, but the thing is always drag them back and take a look at them and see. What for information purposes, if you're looking for sites, websites and what that have a lot of information on meteorites, where's a good place to go, you guys?
Nuggetshooter.com. Bill Southern in Morristown, Arizona down here, has probably one of the best sites right now. Multiple sites. He has probably about 6 different forums all combined into one forum. Plus he has his store involved in that also, where he sells supplies, and he also gives instructions. Bill Southern's a very informative meteorite hunter too. He's hunted this field quite extensively.
I met Bill here last year, and was impressed with the man. And I hadn't really gotten to nugget shooter yet, but I would have to say that every day is probably the first thing I do in the morning, and it's the last thing I do at night. If you want some good information on meteorite hunting, that's an absolute perfect forum to get onto. The help, I can't believe the help that these people provide to these young people. We have, who is it? Basalt Guru?
Yeah,
how old is he?
Greg McGlitch, his father, gets on there quite a bit. Then we have quite a few of the bigger dealers throughout the country that study meteorites, and they offer information on there. Larry gets in there quite often and helps people with his viewpoints on things.
Well, you're Paleface.
I'm Paleface.
You're Paleface. Yes. I'm Mobile Homes on there. And I'm fairly new to it, and as we're busy, a lot of times we're not on there. But you're pretty active on it, Jim.
I'm active on it, especially in the meteorite forum portion of it. Yes, I try to answer all the questions that I can and help new people to try and get them orientated in the area, trying to keep them on the proper land, because we have a wilderness area over here we have to really respect.
Absolutely.
And we have private property in here, and there's a lot of mixed land. And trying to educate these newer people is really a difficult situation.
It is. Well, it's hard to tell who is hurting the environment and who's helping it. And usually everybody gets blamed for what, 2%
right.
of the population out there. We also have a problem in some areas like Gold Basin because we have the recreation out there, Lake Mead Recreational Area.
Right.
And that's taboo, absolutely taboo. They want nothing picked up, nothing taken. And it would be a little dangerous to go in there and just try and find something. And by the way, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Am I right?
That's right.
That's absolutely right. We also have a problem with terrain here, in between the south field, which we're sitting right now, and the north part of this field. It's separated by I-40. And by the way, we're at the I-40. We're at number 13. What is it?
Milepost 13.
Milepost 13. Thank you, guys. Milepost 13. So you know how to get here. And by the way, the directions we will put on the internet, so you'll know exactly how to get into the field. But you've got to be careful. The north portion of the field is sandy, pretty rugged terrain, and then you've got those railroad tracks.
Right. The railroad right away through there, as well as I-40, is pretty much out of bounds. You have to respect their rights. The railroad does own all that land through there, and they really don't want people crossing over their tracks. The wilderness area is beyond that, and that's where the strewnfield is. There's no problem of hunting within the strewnfield in the wilderness area, but you cannot take vehicles of any kind in there. So it's strictly walking.
As far as trash and digging holes out here, I know that most of us are really careful about trying to leave a lot of open holes. If they ever run cattle in again, of course, they probably step in and break their leg, but there's a lot of other ways they can do that as well. But the BLM is very worried about that, and we must maintain our sense of control out there in the field. Batteries, we found some batteries out there a while back, and it's not a good thing to do. And of course, we don't know who those are. Say something about your club. You're involved in a club.
Our club up there, Kingman, Mojave Prospectors, we've got claims, gold claims, out in Gold Basin, and a lot of our members hunt meteorites. And with respect to what you were talking about with filling in holes and such as that, we not only fill in our own holes, but we fill in any other holes that we see. Larry knows from major experiences what can happen out here to people that don't know what they're doing. They leave the holes, they leave trash. Experienced hunters like all of us we clean all that up behind them.
We do. We carry out a lot of trash out here.
And clubs, they stress that. All the clubs do throughout the area, as well as the Havasu Gold Seekers Club, the Bullhead Treasure Hunter Club. Our Kingman Club is very stringent on those rules.
There's a lot of clubs that hunt out here. They have special club meetings out here. They have hunts, and it's very important for these to get our young people involved. I was at a function this weekend, and my goodness, talk about gals. There was 13 women with metal detectors. 13 women out there, and that surprised me a lot. You know, see, the women are now getting into sport, and they were all testing over meteorites. While they were testing, I noticed something, though. A lot of their machines would not pick up meteorites. Give us some input, you guys, on that one, if you would, please.
Well, there are detectors that are basically coin detectors, and then you have prospecting detectors, which also work fairly well as a meteorite detector, but they've never really designed a detector for meteorites, so we have to kind of adapt to it.
Is that, are we talking about like the difference between what, VLF and discrimination machines?
Right.
Is that the difference?
VLFs will discriminate, but we're talking about multi-purpose machines.
Right.
That are designed for coins as well as relic hunting, and then you have your gold machines, and that's more or less John was referring to as the multi-purpose machines.
Right. I hunt with a VSAT, and it's about a 1995 machine, I guess. John, what do you hunt with?
I hunt with a Fisher Gold Bug 2.
Gold Bug 2, just bought out by Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, just bought out by Bounty Hunter. Larry?
MineLab GP Extreme.
MineLab GP Extreme.
Yeah.
I know you're happy with yours because Todd is very happy with his. By the way, we have Todd Parker and Bill Versluis, and both those guys are out hunting in the field right now. And who knows, in the next little while we'll probably hear something from them by radio that maybe they've found something, unless they're holding the calls off me, which they might be while we're having this. And hopefully we can find them in the field, as well as we're going to follow you guys in the field today. And so what do you use for a machine, by the way?
I use two machines. I use the White's GMT, which is top-of-the-line White's gold machine. It's very sensitive for gold, and consequently it's very sensitive to the metal in the meteorites. And then I'm also using a MineLab GP3000, and I do like the nugget finder coils for that machine. Right now I'm using a little 9-inch coil on my 3000 MineLab.
Would you guys recommend that people stay with the coil they originally get for a while before they get off on other coils, or should they just jump to another coil?
It depends on what you're hunting. If you're hunting wide open country and not too many rocks, you can put a larger loop on it. But I always preferred the standard loop. I'm just familiar with it.
Larry, what are you using?
Yeah. It depends on the situation which coil to use.
I'm using the same coil I got, and I seem to be pretty happy at this point. But then again, I don't know any better, So
your stock coils on most of your meteorite machines are pretty adequate.
And the larger loop I don't like because it's a little heavier. So
exactly. And you carry yours. I saw you
carry it on my hip.
On the hip. Larry has a unique situation. He carries his. You're carrying yours on your back.
Well, the battery pack is on the back.
It's on the back.
MineLab.
And then you've actually got a bungee cord, and we'll take a look at that later on, that actually helps you with the weight of the coil when you're carrying a big coil.
Supports the machine.
So he's balanced out basically when you're running. I thought that was unique when I saw it the first time. What are you using, Jim?
If I'm using my MineLab, I like Larry. I carry my battery in a hydration pack on my back, and I have a speaker right here by my ear that I use with it. If I'm using my Whites, then it's mounted on my hip and allows me to have my shaft and my coil pretty free.
Headphones. What are you guys using for headphones?
I use this Jimmy Sierra. I like it. It's comfortable.
I'm using the cheapest pair I got because I'm so bad with dropping stuff that until I get smart enough to.
I have a pair of Koss headphones which have a lifetime guarantee, and I'm on my third pair right now. So
really?
If they wear out, I just send them in and they replace them.
That's what I'm using. Costs. When I use headphones, like I said, I went to a speaker because I like to hear the rattlesnakes. And
That was,
we have a lot of snakes out in this country.
that was a point I was going to bring up next. As far as noise, we're of course on the south side right now, and it's probably the quietest place I've been lately. If you've ever been to the north side, if that isn't the noisiest place, the first time I was there, I thought, I don't think I can do this. Give me your input on that, you guys.
There's a train about every 17 minutes over there.
I'm having problems with the rocks. Everything's hot.
I've run into some rattlesnakes from time to time. I usually see them. Sometimes they don't rattle though, but I try to stay away from them.
Todd, we ran into one about 3 or 4 days ago. A little sidewinder, and we'll have a picture on this DVD. A little bitty guy with just a button. And years ago, I was climbing the hills, and I reached up on the same type of rock that this was laying on, trying to gather the warmth in the morning, and just laid my hand right on top of it. Well, thank goodness it was early in the morning, and that snake was just cold and couldn't bite me. But I'll tell you, it scared me to death.